The night shift. It was my third night working security at Hartwick Museum, and I was already regretting taking the job. The pay was decent enough, but the hours, midnight to 8 a.m., left me constantly exhausted. Plus, there was something about the place that just felt off. The museum itself was housed in an old Victorian mansion, donated by the Hartwick family after the mysterious disappearance of the last heir in 1967. The exhibits were a strange collection of artifacts from around the world, ancient masks, tribal weapons, and peculiar sculptures that seemed to watch you as you passed. My supervisor, Carl, had given me a simple set of instructions on my first day. Make your rounds every hour. Check all the doors. And never, under any circumstances, enter the East Wing after midnight. When I asked why, he just shook his head and said, "Museum policy." But something in his eyes told me there was more to it. The first 2 nights had been uneventful. I made my rounds, drank too much coffee, and tried to ignore the occasional creaking floors and distant sounds that are normal in old buildings. But on the third night everything changed. I was doing my 3 a.m. round when I noticed something strange. The door to the East Wing was slightly ajar. I was certain it had been locked during my previous check. I stood there, flashlight in hand, debating what to do. Carl's warning echoed in my mind, but so did my job description. I was security after all. Checking suspicious circumstances was literally what I was paid for. I pushed the door open slowly. The East Wing was darker than the rest of the museum, with fewer emergency lights illuminating the hallway. My flashlight beam seemed to be swallowed by the darkness as I moved forward. This section housed the Hartwick family's personal collection, items gathered during their travels across Africa, South America, and the Far East. Display cases lined the walls, filled with strange idols and ceremonial objects. As I moved deeper into the wing, I noticed the temperature dropping dramatically. My breath began to fog in front of my face, despite it being summer. Then I heard it, a soft rhythmic tapping, like fingernails on glass. Asterisk tap. Tap, asterisk. I followed the sound to a large display case at the end of the hall. Inside was a wooden mask, carved into a twisted human face with hollow eyes and an elongated mouth. The placard read, "Ceremonial Spirit Mask, Central Africa, circa 1888. There was nothing tapping on the glass. The sound had stopped. I leaned closer, examining the mask. Had it always been positioned that way? Something about its angle seemed wrong, as if someone had adjusted it recently. As I turned to leave, the lights flickered. In that brief moment of complete darkness, I heard a whisper directly behind me. "You shouldn't be here." I spun around, heart racing, but the hallway was empty. The tapping started again, louder this time. When I turned back to the case, my blood froze. The mask had moved. It was now pressed against the glass, facing outward. And it was smiling. Ran. I didn't stop until I reached the security office, slamming the door behind me. My hands shook as I checked the security cameras for the East Wing. The feed showed only static. I sat there until morning, jumping at every sound. When Carl arrived to relieve me, he took one look at my face and sighed. "You went into the East Wing, didn't you?" I nodded, unable to speak. "Did you see it? The mask? It moved," I whispered. "How is that possible?" Carl sat down heavily. The Hartwicks didn't just collect artifacts. They collected stories, myths, power. That mask belonged to a shaman who was said to capture spirits. The last Hartwick heir became obsessed with it. "What happened to him?" I asked, already dreading the answer. "Officially, he disappeared. Unofficially." Carl's eyes met mine. The night guards from that time said they found his clothes empty on the floor of the East Wing. And the mask? The mask was wearing a new expression. I quit that day. Found a day job at a local store where the only thing I had to fear was rude customers. But sometimes at night, I still hear that tapping in my dreams. And when I look in the mirror first thing in the morning, just for a split second, my reflection seems delayed. As if something else is trying to look out through my eyes. Whatever was in that mask is following me, waiting. And I'm afraid that one night, when I'm alone in the dark, it's going to find its way in.